Welcome to the Creative Content Club podcast with me, Naomi Rose. If you are a business owner who wants to consistently create content that connects and converts into clients, this is the podcast for you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let's get right into it. Hello, wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of the Creative Content Club podcast with me, Naomi Rose, the lover of all things planning and all things creative content. Today is going to be a really great topic, one that is very much in the forefront of so many business owners' minds at the moment, and that is AI and how we can use it for content planning. I'm going to set you a little challenge, actually. That's what I'm going to do to start with. I want you to have a scroll through your social media channel of choice, your inbox, wherever you might get content from people, get emails, get social media posts from people that you follow. And I want you to take a little look and see how many of the bits of content that are out there that you see on your feed right now, in your inboxes, wherever that might be, websites, whatever your jam is. How many of them do you think have been created using AI? I'd really love to know what you think about that. I've done this as a little bit of an experiment because I use AI. I think it's brilliant for so many things, but it also can be detrimental. And actually, sometimes you think, well, how on earth did I create anything before AI came along? When you scroll through and have a look at your feed, and I did this a little while ago across multiple channels, I wanted to see how many different bits of content I could see that was actually written using AI, where I felt like it had lost the personality a bit, where I could see the telltale signs of something being created by AI. If you use AI a lot, you will probably recognize it more than not. I don't know about you, but when I use AI, I find it brings up some ridiculous phrases that I would never use. Some of them are quite funny. I find them quite hilarious, but there is definitely a formula to AI and the way it creates things. Some of my giveaway telltale signs that something's been written in AI. It will use things like stop spinning your wheels. That seems to come up quite a lot when I pop stuff in. I don't know where it's got that from. I mean, I know I like ride motorbikes and stuff, but spinning your wheels? Really? Okay. No, just plain no. Here's the truth. Here's the thing. Here's the twist. Here's the catch. I used to say here's the thing quite a lot. And I read a book recently that had here's the thing all the way through it. I know the person had written it themselves. It was almost like, I was like, oh gosh, ChatGPT, I can hear you all the way through this. Every time I see that, I know it's been written with AI. It will also give you like very formulaic sort of pain points and solutions sometimes, and the double dash. Who uses a double dash in reality? It's like it's trademarked, so we know when something's been created with AI. When it comes to content, AI can be super duper useful. It can help us speed up processes. It can take a lot of the legwork out of what we need to create. And like I say, I use it for content creation, but actually really I use it for content planning. So I'm going to tell you how I use AI to make my life easier when it comes to creating content and save time, make it more efficient, so that you can implement it too without losing that really key bit that you need as a business owner, which is the personality, the connection, the storytelling elements of your content that actually is what builds that know, like and trust factor with your ideal clients. They want to see the real you. They don't want generic content. Yes, that's easier for you. But actually, if you think about whether you're saving time using AI, but your content isn't converting, then actually, if you spent 5 more minutes and created a story that really would connect with your ideal client, surely that's a better use of your time than creating content using AI that isn't connecting. Spend 5 more minutes and you can actually create a story that resonates. So what I want to share with you today is exactly how I'm using AI for smarter content planning that gets you clients that convert into sales, connections, all of those good stuff that we look for. My first suggestion for you today is to use AI as your planning tool. So this is where AI can really come into its own. Yes, we can use it for writing content, that's absolutely true. But actually what we can do is get it to map out and plan things for us so that we can plan out all our content really easily. Put in the topics that we actually want to talk about and it can work out a plan for us. Save that kind of administration legwork that you might have to do when it comes to actually planning. So we can use AI in a way that saves us time without taking away all of that personality from what we create, the content that we want to recreate, but use it to help map out what you're going to do. So let me give you an example of how I do that. I might be saying, for instance, I want to launch my next signature course in 8 weeks' time. This is what it's going to be about. What would you suggest I create? Themes each week that lead up to that. What would you suggest I do? And it will put in a timeline for me. And it will make that life easier. I mean, I've already got these templates myself because I've created them, but I do actually use that if I'm doing launching. I look at what it says. I also then use it to plan out exactly. I talk about my ideal clients, what I think they might be needing, and use it as a bit of a tool to think about, is this really going to resonate? And I challenge it. I actually challenge AI sometimes. I said, is this really going to be the right thing? And it gives me that opportunity to really plan out whether that is going to be right, whether it's actually hitting the nail on the head when it comes to planning out the content. So it takes my ideal clients on a journey from start to actual launch that gets them to a place where I feel they are ready to buy. That's where AI can be really good. It's sort of mapping out all of that stuff you've got to do. So you don't have to sit and plan it all out, because sometimes that can take so long to do. A lot of the time we're not posting content because we've got to do the planning bit. The planning bit's the hard bit. Actually, then doing it is actually probably the harder bit. But what I mean is we procrastinate because the plan can sometimes feel really overwhelming. So use AI to take out that overwhelm. The next piece of advice I've got for you today is we've got to teach AI about our businesses, about our clients. Feed it the information that it needs because it's a generic tool. It doesn't know you. It doesn't know your ideal clients. So we need to really give it the information that it needs. Get it to understand exactly what your goals are, where you want your business to head. Who are your clients? What kind of person are they? What do they like? What do they listen to? How do they consume information? All of these things. What's keeping them up at night? The more information you can feed it about who your clients are, where you want your business to go, that will really help AI to help you create the content that you want, because it will learn and it will be much, much more efficient. It will get to understand how you're positioning yourself, where you want to go, and it will give you those suggestions that resonate. So actually, rather than spending ages going backwards and forwards on AI, which isn't creating you anything you need, which is relevant to your business, give it that information to start with, teach it. I'm going to put a big caveat here because it's not going to necessarily get everything right from day dot. And it's definitely not going to get everything right as time progresses, as it gets to know you, because you evolve, you move on. It doesn't see all of those kinds of things. So where we use AI and where we use it for like content creation or brainstorming or coming up with new ideas, treat it as though it's the first edit. Treat it as though it is a starting point for ideas, and always sense check it. Think, actually, am I connecting with my ideal clients? Is this actually getting to know them really, really well? Sometimes I will challenge and ask it very specific questions about my ideal clients and think, does this really work for them? Are you sure this is what's going to connect? And that way then I can add in my own little details that makes it much more personal to me. So it plans it out for me brilliantly. It gets to know my business. But actually what happens is that if I'm thinking about what content to write, which I will then use sometimes as a starter for 10, if you like, it will then give me the right information based on my business, based on my ideal clients, that I can then just tweak and refine and turn it into something I can use. The next piece of advice I got for you is about keeping your tone of voice front and center. Bit like teaching AI how to learn about your business, teaching it your ideal clients, teach it about the tone of voice you use. And what I mean by that is, what words do you use in your language? What kind of vibe do you want to create for people that are going to be reading your content? What kind of words do you use quite frequently that you think, actually, that is me, that's how I talk? Some of those kind of phrases, your personality, all of those kind of things, tell it those stories. When we are creating, if you are using it to create, say, a social media post or an email for you, or even a blog, get it to write the content, get it to write that starter for 10, and then tweak it to put your own tone of voice in there. Just use it as that editing tool to get your own tone of voice, because that's what people are going to hear. That's what people are going to see from you when it comes to your content. It's you they want to connect with, not AI. So your voice needs to absolutely, and also your brand to some extent, so your brand imagery, your brand identity. When people look at content, they will feel something. They will feel an emotion, because 95 of our purchase-based decisions are made subconsciously based on emotion. Then we back them up with logic. So this is a really key stat to remember when we're creating something. Actually, how you appear in your emails, your tone of voice, your imagery, your visuals, all of that kind of thing, it will appeal to certain people and hopefully your ideal clients if you're positioned in the right place. So when we're using AI to create that content for us, we want at the end of it to question, how's this going to make people feel? Because it won't necessarily put the emotion in. It won't necessarily put your personality in the way that you want to. So when you're looking at what it's maybe created for you, look at where you can add in that personality, your tone of voice, so that people recognizes that it's you. If you go and have a look at my Instagram, for instance, or my LinkedIn posts, there are some I have absolutely used AI for that starter for 10 to give me that idea. If I'm just not in that kind of creative mind space, sometimes I can give me a Friday thoughts email. I'm away. I'll have a whale of a time there. AI definitely does not write that for me. But there are some social posts where I think, this is what I want to do today. This is the purpose of this post. And I've completely got a mind block. So I am going to use AI to come up with the basic of this content. But when you go and read my posts, you will see that my voice is front and center of those. You will hear what I'm talking about in those posts, just like I'm not AI here. I am the human person. I can promise you. You might not be able to see me, but I am definitely here. I've created that content, so it's got me in the center. So use AI to help you create the content, but make sure you bring it back to your identity, your tone of voice, how you want people to feel and how you want people to connect. I know it'll make it sound really easy just saying it like that. It's not. It takes time. It takes patience to really refine what that is. Most of all, it takes practice. So if you're avoiding getting these storytelling posts out, putting these posts out that put your personality in, just put some stuff out there. Just do it. Just take that messy action and do it. Use AI to help you. Put a bit of your own personality in there and let's see where it goes from there. It definitely makes a difference. People want connection. They don't want generic posts. They're not going to resonate with that. They're going to scroll straight past that. So it needs to be in your tone of voice. That's what they want to see, because people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. My final point for you, which I've already really said, is AI is there to help speed up the process for you, to make your life easier. It's not there to take away the core of your content, which is you. You are the core of your content. Your business is the core of your content. It's there to help make everything easier. So, for instance, let's create a blog post, for instance. I always start a lot of my content from long form. So my I have weekly content themes, and it's based off what I call the long form bit of content, which means it's like either a blog post or a long email, one of those kind of things. Basically, it's the longest bit of content because then I can break it up into bite-sized pieces. This is what I'm doing. I'm giving away my trade secrets now. What I want to write for that week. Write me a blog post on AI, the tool for smart content planning. That is the title of my blog post. It must include these 3 things, and then it will write that content for me. I tweak it, put in my tone of voice, edit it so it actually becomes the blog that I want it to create. I might add some examples. I might add my own personal experiences in there. So it's got the basis of that content written. Once I've then created that, I will then say, create me a social post based on this, create me a email based on this, create me a post for LinkedIn that talks to these kinds of people. I will then use AI to help me do that process quicker. The other thing that you can do here is if you are needing that kind of research, a bit of market research, or you're looking for, I've used this before as well, where I've kind of gone, I really want to get some useful stats about content marketing. Can you find me some? And it will go away and do that legwork for you. It will do some of that research. It will look into what some of the trends are. So I can ask it questions about, say, what content is converting for business owners who are web designers at the moment on Instagram. I will look at kind of that kind of thing where it will then help me with information. So it can be used as that information gathering tool. It can be used to help you create that. It can also be used for all sorts of things like that to help you plan your content, which is really, really good because it means that we can keep ourselves at the heart of all the content we do, but it will take out the legwork. It will take out that time to plan out a whole week's of content. You ask it to create that one basic bit and then it can create a whole wave of stuff after that. Like, it can help with various different ideas. So top tips, posts, like I say, quotes, anything like that. You can see where, I haven't gone out and spent hours researching quotes that I put out on a Saturday. AI has helped me with that. And I picked the ones that I feel are most relevant to me. So it works as that research and information gathering tool, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it is me at the heart of the business. That's today's episode, all about AI and how we can use it in content. So just a real quick recap. Use AI as a planning tool. Get it to know your business. Make sure your voice, not AI's voice, is front and center, and use it to speed up the process. Take out that admin work, take out that legwork, and make sure that you keep yourself at the heart of everything you write, because that's what's really going to connect with people. I hope you found that useful and taken away some top tips from that. I'd love for you to let me know what you're thinking of these episodes. I'll be back again next week with another episode of this. In the meantime, I'd love for you to connect with me. So come and find me on Instagram, on LinkedIn. My links are in the show notes. And also come and take my quiz. If you're struggling to create content that converts into clients, take the quiz to find out why. Again, all the links are in the show notes. I'll see you again on the next episode of the Creative Content Club. Thank you for listening to the Creative Content Club podcast with me, Naomi Rose. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this podcast a review. If this episode gave you clarity or sparked a new idea, I'd really appreciate it if you could share it with someone else who would find it useful. If you haven't already, give me a follow on Instagram and come and connect with me on LinkedIn. And finally, don't forget to check out the show notes to take my quiz to find out exactly why your content isn't converting into clients. Thanks again for listening, and I'll be back again next week with another episode.